Okay, sitting at my favorite watering hole last night, and a guy came up, sat down next to me. He had worked with various aircraft companies, and he was a examiner, a parts examiner, and other things. Did other things with Boeing, various companies, but I started to explain to him what this device does, and how it's put on cars. And when I got to the part that you put the device next to the water hose, he went off and got very upset and left. So we know that this is a strange thing. We know that there are many scams out there on the web, and that there are a huge amount of devices that have been put out over the years that absolutely do nothing. One of them was when I was a young boy, 16, 18 years old. They had what they called a mini supercharger, and that was put underneath the carburetor. That didn't work. Obviously didn't work. What it did was it just atomized the fuel. And we know that today manufacturers are very good at what they do, and they know how to atomize the fuel as well as you probably can ever do. Everything is nailed when it comes to production. So putting a mini supercharger on your car in 1950s was not going to work, and it still doesn't work. Today they sell an electronic supercharger that, when I was in the C-Corps group online, where it was a group of people that had superchargers on their cars, on their Miatas, and we all discussed and made fun of the electronic supercharger that they sell on eBay. But electronic superchargers absolutely do something. They may not work very well, but they work a little bit. And what we're selling is this CoilPack4U, as we call it, is a whole different realm of science. We're talking about quantum science here. It's something that, as far as I know, nothing has ever been sold or developed that works on this realm. In this realm, it's really a beautiful thing, and it's very elegant. And you'll find out if you buy one of them, and we do guarantee it for 90 days. You can try it. If it doesn't work for you, you can send it back. But this thing actually it energizes your entire car. And last night when I was talking to the guy, I told him about how we don't have to use windshield wipers on the car, and he says, well, I don't use windshield wipers after 60 miles an hour anyway. Well, I don't know how he drives like that, but I couldn't possibly drive a car at 60 miles an hour without wipers unless I had this on the car. What it does is it's putting a field around the car, and it causes the windshield to coagulate the water, just as Rain-X does. And I can drive with Rain-X, and I can drive with this, but I sure can't drive without any wipers. And when you have a very light rain, and I show this on another video, when you have a very light rain, the windshield is totally clean. And normally when you're driving after rain, a big downpour and there are puddles in the road, you get spray off the road on the car. You have to turn your wipers on and off all the time to keep the water off the windshield, and this is not what happens. We don't have any water on the windshield in those conditions. When it's a light rain, you got no water on the windshield. So it's pretty amazing. Not pretty amazing. It's totally amazing. This is something that no one's ever seen, and it's never been done, and it works amazingly well. So I'm going to go on with this. In various parts, I'm going to explain to you how it works, why it works to some degree. I'm not a scientist. I'm an architect. I've said that many times on these other videos. But you know, over 8 years basically of working on this, in 4 years of it working on just this particular device, I've learned an awful lot about quantum science from a layman's point of view, and also some other things that aren't even discussed in quantum science. So we're going to go on with this and give you an overall viewpoint as much as we can. Okay, for the second part of this, I'd like you to watch Pat Goss's video and listen to Dan Nelson's audio. Now, these two pieces of work are very different. Dan's talking about something that is never done with Newtonian physics, and Pat Goss is talking about the constraints that we have on machinery relative to Newtonian physics. So here we have two different points of view and two different ways of doing things, and both of them work. Now, mechanics as we use them today are generally confined to Newtonian physics, but Dan Nelson tells you we can get past that. We can do things that with water that nobody's ever heard of, and we're telling you that you can take our device, put it on your car, and it will transform the water in your engine and make it into something that water normally is not, and change the way it works. So listen and look at these two pieces, and we'll do the third part. Okay, now I'm going to assume that you watched Pat Goss's video, you understand what he had to say, and you've listened to Dan Nelson's video, especially the audio, the first one. Dan tells you about how water is actually changed by his device, which is a reverse laser. It's changed by our device also. It's changed quite a bit, and our device learns things, inputs from the engine. It does that because the engine alternator actually flows from negative to positive, as all electricity does in DC, and there are spurious frequencies, and this is explained in our patent. There are spurious frequencies coming from the alternator that are not necessary for generating electricity for your car, but that actually change the fuel as it enters the combustion chamber. This creates a plasma effect that was seen early on when we did our first testing. We actually went to Las Vegas and watched this happen with a carbureted truck. There's a blue glow when you look down the carburetor of the engine. That's plasma. The plasma changes the way the engine fires. For this reason, very worn out cars, such as my 97 beat up Miata, begin to run in new ways. They act like new cars. Previously, when you took it out and ran it, it missed and performed very badly. Now the car performs better than new. So that's real good proof that what we are doing actually works. We especially encourage people that have cars like this. My car actually burns 1 quart of oil now every tank full of gas. That's not something I recommend you have on the highway, but I don't think it's creating all that much pollution. It went through inspection last time. I'm not sure where that oil's going, but I know the car's worn out. I know the car has probably 250,000 miles on it. It was rolled back when I bought it up in New York City by someone. They also did a repaint on it. They put it on eBay as if the car was in good shape. I drove all the way up there to look at it, and I said, I'm going to buy the car because I'm not going to take a trip all the way up here for nothing. And now I have the car. The car had said 60,000 miles on it when I bought it, and like I say, it probably had another 100,000 on it, and now it's up around 150,000, and I'm saying it's got 250 on it. But it runs extremely well, and it'll blow the doors off of my 94 Miata, which is in top shape. It's rebuilt. It has it's board balanced, has a really nicely polished intake manifold, and valves. Everything was rebuilt on it. The car's beautiful. It puts out 104 on a Mustang dyno without the blower. I have a blower kit for it that brings the horsepower up to about 150. And like I say, this 97, which is beaten up, will blow the doors off of that 94 in a heartbeat. I know that. I've driven them both for a long time. Just drove the 97 for probably 6 months with this new CoilPack4 on it, and it runs great. We put this device on other my friend's worn out van, and all of a sudden it started running great. Another friend had a old Volkswagen Passat that was worn out, and she got immediate improvement. And last time I saw her, she said she had actually washed her car for the first time in its life because she loved it so much now. That's the way it goes. You expect that.